Okay, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Speechmatics and Neuraswitch joint webinar, How to Drive Agent Empowerment and Improve Customer Experience Using Machine Learning. My name is Katherine Codlin. I'm Strategic Accounts Manager here at Speechmatics. And to give you an overview of Speechmatics, we're a machine learning company that specializes in speech recognition. Put simply, we take voice and audio and convert it to text, and we do that with leading accuracy through a variety of different deployments on-premise and in the cloud, enabling our users to uncover and use the data within their voice files. With the rise in power of machine learning, it has never been easier to give your agents the tools they need to succeed. Machine learning can help to empower contact center agents by giving them the right tools, skills, and resources to deliver superior customer experience. And that's what we're going to go through in this webinar for you. I'd like to introduce Scott Eller from Neuraswitch.
Thank you, Kat. My name is Scott Eller. I'm the Chief Relationship Officer at Neuraswitch. And I've been in technology since 2005, and throughout my career, I've worked with various companies in healthcare, financial services, manufacturing, and while going through all that, we've noticed that the call center experience is extremely lacking. So my partners and I created Neuraswitch to help create a solution that would really transform the call center experience. We're going to get into a demonstration later today after we talk about some of the challenges that call centers are facing today, but what we do is we bring real-time speech analytics into every single call. Can't wait to explore that more throughout, but Kat's going to talk about what we're going through today.
Great, thank you, Scott. Yeah, as we know, customers' expectations for service are always increasing, and call center training is a crucial part of that puzzle. Improving performance management and training best practice in the call center is key to keeping your customers happy. Today, we're going to cover two of the biggest challenges call centers face: the customer service experience and also the employee engagement experience. We'll then go into a demo where we dive into Neuraswitch's Connection CX platform that solves both of these challenges. And if you have any questions, please do get in touch at the end. We'd be more than happy to answer them.
Now, if you think about all the challenges that we face in the call center, there's a lot of them. Think about the last time that you've had to call your cell phone provider or your cable bill. Sometimes you can't understand the person on the other end. Sometimes the personalities just don't match. Sometimes it's a very emotional call, but the agent just isn't understanding that and is not providing enough information for you. So with all those challenges that you're faced every day, we've really set out to improve those. But with that, it all really falls into two buckets. So I'll have Kat go through the first challenge real quick.
Sure. So starting with the first challenge, that's all about how we improve customer service and thus improve customer experience.
Yeah. So when you survey customers, actually a survey was done a couple of years ago, looking at customers on how they perform with customer experience, and 80% of companies say they deliver superior customer service. I mean, if you think about it, the majority of companies are always going to say that they strive to meet all their customer needs. But in reality, when you service the other side, the actual people that are calling in, only 8% of them are thinking that they have superior service. And when you look at different metrics, if you ask someone how the call went at the end of the call, a lot of times you're going to find that they may say, yeah, the call is fine. Well, you know what? They're probably going to cancel after they hang up the phone. So what we really need to do is improve the information that the agent's getting so we can ensure that the client is really ending the call on a happy note. So the reality is, let's move to challenge one. The next slide, please. Thank you. So the reality is, throughout the day, we wake up in one mood. You know, typically we're tired, we're not ready to have a conversation. I received a phone call first thing this morning, rolling out of bed. I had to have 5 minutes to wake up to be able to get to my happy place. But the reality is, things are going to happen throughout the day too. You're going to get phone calls. You could get in a car accident. Your emotional state is not going to be consistent throughout the day. So really, that's the biggest challenge. You don't know what state the customer is that you're dealing with. Typically, when they're calling in, they're probably going to be upset. So it's determining how we can turn that mood around throughout the call. But without understanding what emotional state they're in, it's really hard for us to be able to service them properly.
Yeah, I agree. This perception is caused by the amount of data businesses have only in audio format. It's a surplus of audio data that isn't being utilized because it's too difficult to analyze. Automatic speech recognition technology enables businesses to transcribe audio files easily, and it's a cost-effective solution compared to manual transcription, and really unlocks the data within. Once your audio data is transcribed, you can then start to use the data to improve your customer service and experience in a multitude of ways. Being able to analyze this large volume of interactions releases information on specific calls with trends, issues across the entire agent population, and creates the opportunity to coach staff using identified examples, etc. And this information not only creates training opportunities, but also enables refinement of scripts, improving overall performance of the contact center.
Thank you, Kat. Yeah, and adding on to that too, with transcription, I already kind of touched on it a little bit, but really understanding the emotional state is extremely important as well. So let's say you're on a call and you end the call and someone's like, "Yeah, everything was fine." Well, transcription is going to say everything was fine, but what we do is we can actually pin that against the emotional analytics as well, and we understand that maybe they were a little bit frustrated. So really understanding the emotions with the transcription is so powerful within the call center space today, and that's what we'll be highlighting in the demonstration in a second here as well.
So you need a reliable transcription tool in the back end, Scott. That's what we're saying.
That is correct. So that is exactly what we rely on Speechmatics for, is the most accurate transcription tool that we found out there. Another piece is really looking at the customer profile. So if you think about my personality and Kat's are, we're pretty similar. We're in sales, but we like different things. We have different interests. And if you talk to Kat about basketball, she may have no interest. I love basketball. So it's really, understanding the advanced customer profile too. So getting a screen pop with who's calling is one thing. But getting a screen pop with who's calling and some of their interests, that's another thing. So really what we've tried to do, and again, we'll highlight some of this in the demonstration, but it's showing some of the personality types of the actual caller. Being able to understand them is going to lead to a much better conversation. You'll probably start the conversation out on a better note, and it'll flow more smoothly. So really understanding your customer and the profile, likes, interests, that's something that we can help with as well.
Great, thanks, Scott. So yeah, back to that point, accurately transcribed audio in real time or after the call has finished means you can really derive actionable data and unlock that source. In real time, you can act upon a customer's emotions instantly with tried and tested prompts to respond to certain issues, or similarly to know when to get a supervisor involved before the call escalates and make the call more efficient for that customer. And post-processing, after the call, the transcripts can be analysed to see where a call went wrong and how in future the customer's experience could be improved, or to understand how to reduce the number of items a customer has to call due to the lack of understanding from the agents. So I think that ties up where we are with challenge 1 for now. We'll show you more as we move on into the demo, so you can really have a look at how that works, how the platform works with the transcription engine in the background. And I'd just like to move on to the second challenge that we have. So let's delve into challenge number 2, enhancing the agent engagement and experience.
Awesome, thank you, Kat. And yeah, so we've already covered the caller scenario, but the other biggest challenge is no one really takes into consideration what's going on with the agent. So if you call into an agent and you're frustrated, you're mad, they're probably getting multiple calls like that per day. That's probably how most of their calls start out. So they're basically just a sounding board of venting for any issues that actually happen. So what can we do? How can we empower those agents? We can add certain tools like transcription. We can add emotional analytics, and we'll talk through some of those other challenges here, and then show you how we can solve them.
Great, thanks, Scott. So the question, why is automatic speech recognition important to helping your agents in their daily job? Well, because speech is an essential part of the workflow to change the way agents communicate and work. Customer experience starts with how your agents are feeling and operating, as we've said. And if we can understand, shape, and manage that, your customers will get a better experience. So using speech recognition tech, you can put out procedures and platforms in place to listen to calls, receive real-time call feedback, review the data, train and coach those agents, really investing in their development. And that way you ensuring your agents are well equipped, trained, and monitoring results, that you result in a more empowered and happier agent. And effective agents will promote positive brand awareness for your company and increase lifetime value.
Thank you, Kat. Yeah, and another challenge is really the agent understanding when to make recommendations. I've been on support calls, I'm sure we all have, where they're trying to sell me things that have nothing to do with my support call. That just frustrates me more. I get more upset. I want to end that call. So what if we could add predictive analytics? So this is another tool that we can provide the agents with. So by taking the transcription, we can analyze certain keywords. Again, we'll get into this in the demo, but we can empower the agent to only make recommendations that are relevant to the caller. We're not going to upset the caller anymore, get them in a worse mood. We should start to see their emotional trend upwards towards the happy stages. But that's another way that we can empower agents. We can really give them predictive analytics to provide real-time insights into what's best for the customer. There's another piece that when we're looking at the agent and the caller, it's all about fitting the right match. So I kind of talked about at the beginning about how personality types match. Well, what we can actually do is, what if we could take the agent, we could reach out to all the different social media sites, build a profile for the customer. So now the agent is empowered. He has all the information, likes, dislikes, what if the caller has kids, if they have a family vacation coming up, they could be informative about some of that information. So again, that's another tool that we can provide the agents to provide a better conversation moving forward.
Great, and I'll look forward to seeing that demo here on in a minute. So without accurate transcription, it's difficult to gather the data you need to help your agents. For speech recognition to work well, it needs to be integrated into a platform that can process that data quickly and add value to the transcription output, as we'll show with the Neuraswitch demo. Furthermore, visualizing results can provide varied and engaging training, removing the kind of monotonous framework of old, if you like, and actually engaging the agents. If you aren't engaged, it's really hard to learn, as I'm sure we all know. Displaying this data also allows upper management teams, leadership teams to view and publicly praise, recognize agents. This in itself creates an inclusive and trusted environment. And being open and transparent with your agents over time will build a culture where feedback and coaching is the norm.
Perfect. Well, with that, I know we've all been waiting. We will jump into the demonstration. Brian Matthews, he is CEO of Neuraswitch. He will be going through the demonstration today.
Hey, this is Brian here at Neuraswitch, and today I would like to give you a demo of our Connection CX platform and how our partnership with Speechmatics elevates the customer experience. So what is Connection CX? Basically, it's a next-generation communications platform that leverages the power of human emotions and behavioral analytics to create unique customer experiences. So while that sounds pretty cool, what exactly does it mean in real life? Basically, it means having a communication platform that not only understands the emotional state of your customers as well as your agents in real time, but is able to react accordingly. So let's get started. As soon as you log into Connection CX, you'll see our dashboard. And if the Connection CX looks strangely familiar, we'd like to welcome you Salesforce customers. If you're not a Salesforce customer, no worries. Connection CX works with other CRM platforms such as Microsoft, SAP, and others. In regards to telephony platforms, we support vendors such as Cisco, Avaya, Five9, and others. And for our Salesforce customers, we do have a custom CTI adapter that you will see later that provides very unique features not found in other adapters. So let's jump right in. So as you see right here is our Connection CX dashboard. Up top is our call summary information. And what we do is here a little bit different. So you'll see the calls that our center has taken, the number of inbound calls, the number of outbound calls, and the result of those calls. Now, the different thing about Connection CX is the status of the calls. So our statuses are not successful, unsuccessful, it didn't work, the customer returned something. Our statuses are very unique, is that they're based upon the emotional state of the customer. And this is configurable. So you could do basically, as you see here, positive, negative, or neutral sentiment, or we can actually change it to where the emotional state, and let me take a step back. The emotional state in Connection CX is based upon the actual voice of the customer, how they're speaking to our agents. So we go above customer sentiment and really get into how customers are feeling when they're calling our customer support line. Now, down below, you'll see our insights panel. And we have two. We have one for callers and one for agents. And you'll see a lot of lines going left to right, and exactly what does this mean? So basically what this is telling a supervisor or call center manager is that when our calls are coming in, what is the emotional state of our customers when our agents first pick up the phone? And then after the experience with our agent, what is their emotional state when they hang up the phone? And this is very key. We're going beyond sentiment. We're going to exactly how our customers are feeling. And I'll give you a good example about that. If you were to take sentiment, if it was positive or negative, a customer could say, yes, you solved my problem, thank you. If you run sentiment analysis on that, it would say positive because I said you were able to solve my problem. But what's different in our system is that we actually analyze the tone of the voice. So if I was to say, yes, you solved my problem, thanks again. While you solved my problem, emotionally, there's still a problem. So while yes, my experience, quote unquote, ended successfully, there's still an issue with how I'm feeling, maybe perhaps with the customer, with the product, or with the experience. And from that, you actually get from Connection CX platform that you can take to other areas of your business and understand why our customers are feeling a certain way. If we go down here below, you'll see some bars where it's the emotional analysis. And so in the platform, we do mood and we do emotions. And so the emotions is your temper, high, low, medium, and our valence is basically sentiment, positive, negative, neutral, and then our arousal. And arousal is how animated are our customers when they're calling into the platform. So there's a difference between a person who would call in and say, yes, it's working, thank you very much, I have a problem, or someone who's very animated, hey, this is Bill, I'm having a problem with my credit card, can you help me out? That's the big difference to our platform. It's able to capture those emotions that our customers are saying on the phone as well as our agents. And then down below, we break things out in moods. So our customers and our agents, are they happy, they're sad, were they being warm when they're speaking to our customers? And then sometimes if they're neutral or they haven't spoken enough where our system can actually capture their emotional state. Now, if I come here to the right-hand side, you'll see where we have our key agents. And right here, you'll see we have our most effective agent, our least effective agent, and then we have a list of our conversations. So if you look here at our most effective agent, you're looking here and you're like, well, Brian, how is Harold our most effective agent if every customer he speaks to, their most frequent emotion is anger? Well, if you take a step back and really think about it, then what our system is doing is actually telling you that, yes, most of his customers are angry, But when they end the call after speaking with Harold, he has turned that anger into happiness or satisfaction or someone feeling a lot better than when they called in. And vice versa, it goes the same with John over here. Even though most of his customers are neutral, when they're ending the session with John, we really can't get a bead on how the customer is feeling. In cases like that, then we would actually fall back to using sentiment analysis and other aspects that happen during the call. And then down below, you see our recent conversations where it shows you our talk time, the caller, emotion, and other things of that nature. So now that we've gone over the dashboard, let's drill down into the magic of the Connection CX platform. So let's get to the demo. For today's demo, I'm going to be playing two roles. The first role will be that of the customer calling in to speak to someone about their account. And the second will be that of an agent using a pre-recorded track, which will be the viewpoint of the demo. To keep things simple, we're going to bypass the traditional screen pop, but don't worry, there's another demo coming with how we handle screen pops within Connection CX. In addition, the system has been configured that anytime a customer mentions or suggests that they are canceling their account or want to speak to a supervisor, the system will automatically prompt the agent on how to respond. In addition, Salesforce's Einstein has been configured to provide recommendations based upon the active conversation. And finally, to show the agent the customer's current emotional state and to provide tips on how to respond. One last thing about this demo is that I'm going to be playing the role of Mrs. Andrews. And you'll notice how, as I'm speaking, certain things are going on for the agent. And also how the system is trying to understand my emotional state. And one thing about emotional state is that the speaker has to speak for about 8 to 10 seconds continuously for us to really get a true bead on their true emotional state. So sometimes during the call, you'll see that, hey, I'm sad, or for anger, you really have to yell and scream. Or not so much scream, but you really have to show true anger and emotion to get the temper and to get that mood registered within the system. So let's get started.
Thank you for calling Matrix Bank. My name is Brian. I see I'm speaking with Caroline. Can I please have your mother's maiden name to validate your identity?
Andrews, supervisor, please.
Thank you for verifying your identity, Mrs. Andrews. How may I assist you today?
Yes. Speak to someone about my credit card, please.
Actually, I should be able to handle
Now,
this for
you
you,
notice some of the... Now
If you
see
feel I am
that
not meeting your needs,
the
I can
system picked
transfer
up
you
that
onto
I was
another
kind of
agent.
sad and irritated that I'm calling
Give me a
about
second while I pull up your
my
account.
credit card. Now, you notice that when
You
I said
actually
credit
have
card,
two accounts with Matrix
Salesforce's
Bank.
Einstein
Checking
provided
and
some of the
saving.
recommendations. And I think it's kind of interesting because I'm actually
I'm
letting this
actually
play
seeing
out.
there's a pending
So you hear
charge
the
on
agent
your
in the
checking account
background,
that looks like it wasn't
and
fully
you also hear
executed.
me speaking.
I
And
do
so
see the money was
we are
pulled from
actually
savings
transcribing in real
another
time, so you can
transaction.
really see the true power of the Connection CX platform. You also notice that a little talk time badge came up that's totally configurable. That's just letting
No
you know
worries
that
at all, Caroline. Since you
the
initiated the
call has reached
transaction
over a certain
initially from
threshold.
checking and then cancelled it,
And then
our
down below, you
system
see
hasn't
those little
fully
indicators, and
updated
those
yet.
are the insights that's been configured for the platform. And so, and what I'm gonna do is just hang up the phone call. And you really get to see the true power of the platform is that how, what happens during the call, how it's able to process what's going on. And depending on how you've configured the system, it can start sending alerts. So think about this. If you have a high value customer and you're a bank, and let's say you have one of your private banking customers call in, they're platinum. If they were to call in with an issue and they were very angry and upset, most call centers wouldn't, the rep that's representing that person, their private banker, would never know that that customer called in and was upset or angry. What we do is not only do we alert the supervisor what's going on, this customer is upset, so they can start monitoring that call, but we can also alert the private banker that's located in the branch and tell them that, hey, your customer is on the call right now, and these are the words, the insights, these are some of the things that they're talking about. And maybe you need to personally reach out to them because maybe they want to cancel their account or they're very upset. And this right here is the true power of the platform. We can react in real time, what's going on, what's being said by both the customer and the agent. So now that we've done a demo call, let's see what happens after our calls and how the platform processes that information. So after the call ends is just the beginning of the Connection CX platform processing. So let's jump into what happens after an agent hangs up the phone. So what we'll do is we'll jump over here to our Conversations tab. And every conversation that your agent takes using the platform, the call recording gets analyzed and is broken down like as you see right here. What you see on the left-hand side is general details about the record. You see where the emotional state was when the customer first called in, the case number, what type of call was it. Our system can automatically analyze the calls and then break them down depending on the types of calls that your call center has. As we move forward to the right, you'll see our caller, our agent, and then you'll see the type of persona that they have. The platform breaks down all communications, and we use the Myers-Briggs personality profiles. And so any correspondence that your agent has with a customer, whether it's voice, email, or text, we analyze that conversation. Below you see the sentiment analysis, the emotional state as far as temper, arousal, and so forth. And then you see what was the starting emotion of the call? How were they when they first initiated, or the call first started? And what was their frequent emotion? And then what was their ending emotion? And so, also moving to the right, you'll see where we have our talk time and how we break that down and the confidence of this particular call. So as we move forward down below, you'll see our call recording. And then this is just a demo call where we've actually analyzed this call, and you see where we have these words highlighted in blue or red in this case. And these are customer defined, and we like to call these insights. And insights are basically keywords, phrases, or concepts that an administrator or supervisor can identify that we pick up during the call. And then we allow you to specify what happens when those words are picked up. Also, when you play the transcript, we actually add animation so that you can easily follow along at the transcript to see what's being said. To the right, you'll see emotions, and these are the emotions that we picked up for the agent as well as the customer, the insights that were picked up, and then leveraging Salesforce's chatter, we allow you to collaborate back and forth, allows a manager to leave a message for the agent, hey, great job, or you should have closed with this or replied with this, and then actually open it up for the team and allow the team to maybe use this particular recording as a learning technique. Then after we process the calls, what we do is then we attach all that information to the agent. And here you're looking at an agent profile. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but we'll just take it section by section. To the left is our basic agent information. You'll see this is Harold. And we've actually identified Harold as a protagonist, and we give a little summary about his persona. And then we give you the attributes about his personality. And then down below, you see really these two key pieces of information, their best time frame and their worst time frame. And this is the information that you can use to identify maybe when you want someone to work, maybe your platinum or your high value customers, or maybe it's a good time for someone to work on maybe chat or some internal tasks. And then down below, further down below, we actually have their best match. And since we build profiles for every customer that's in the system, and I also like to point out, this is actually configurable, so you do not have to enable this functionality. We actually show you their best match, male or female, their age range, educational type, and all those different attributes we have in the system, and we'll drill down into a later video. And then once again, we have our emotional breakdown. How does this temper his arousal during all these calls? In the middle section, we have our conversational analysis. And so you have all the emotions here. And so if I drill down, let's say on happiness, it's actually telling me for the customers I speak to, what is their initial state, and then what is their personality type. And so maybe I have a certain personality type that no matter what, I just don't vibe with these 2 or 3 other personality types. Why is this important? Because we can actually leverage that information when we do call routing. And that's one of the other aspects of the platform, is that when a call comes in, we can analyze the personality profile and other attributes of the caller as well as the agent, and then be able to match. Because we really want to get that synergy between the customer and agent. And if we know a particular agent doesn't really vibe well with certain personalities, certain personality types, we'll try to avoid that. But in certain situations, that's unavoidable, and you just have to route the call because that person's available. And that's just the nature of the beast. But what we try to do is really maximize the connection, or between the customer and the agent. Down below is our heat map. And this really just shows you, of all the calls I've taken for a particular time frame, what is my best times and what are my worst times. And this just allows a supervisor to schedule me when I'm actually at my best. And a good example that we like to use here for our demos and when we're talking with customers and prospects is that, imagine yourself having a high value customer, and every business usually has those customers that are identified. When you have that high value customer call in, and let's say you have an agent he's your best agent, he's on his way to work, maybe he got into a car accident, maybe he received bad news, and when your high value customer calls into the center, and we've identified that even though he's your best agent, he's really having a bad day. Do you really want that high value customer talking to an agent who is emotionally not at their best? And that's the key thing. We're trying to do these matches so that we can increase the likelihood of a greater connection between the agent and the customer. And then if we move to the right, you'll see our agent statistics, how many calls they've taken, how many have been positive, negative, neutral, and then again, we'll actually break down all the conversations. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the demo.
Brian, thank you so much for that amazing demonstration. I hope that you've all enjoyed it. So really quick to go through what we've gone through today. Essentially, we're going to provide the agents what they need to succeed. We've gone through some of the technology with transcription, with emotional analytics to really empower your teams. At the same time, it's going to really help assist with the caller experience as well. So with all this technology in place, that you can understand the emotions of a client without being face-to-face. We can provide additional value with upsells and cross-sells that are 100% relevant to the conversation. This is really going to allow you to control the conversation and control the outcome. And the most important part is that you end the conversation on a good note. So if that caller calls in unhappy from the beginning, let's get them into a happy state. And so it's all understanding those trends. And with that, That's all I've got.
Yeah. And that brings us to the end of the session. Thanks very much to Scott and Brian for the demo there. We'd really love to answer any questions you have. Please do reach out to us on hello@speechmatics.com or info@neuraswitch.com for the Neuraswitch team. And thank you very much for attending.